crafty friends, and welcome to another sketch starter with Nicole. Today's sketch might look a little basic, but I guarantee it's one you'll be coming back to again and again. I'm going to start off my first interpretation with a little bit of watercoloring from the Sweet Nothings stamp set, and I already have my pieces heat embossed on some watercolor cardstock. So I just have the 3 pieces that I need, and I grabbed 2 colors from the Tropical Fiesta watercolor brush set, Sweet Leaf and Purple Wine. And I'm going to start with the bloom first, and I'm really just going to fill this with water, just pushing out some water from my water brush and getting this really soaked and ready to receive the color. And this is just a quick way to do watercolor that has really good results. So of course, because I've got the heat embossing in place, it's going to keep the color in between all of those little heat embossed lines, and it's going to do something really cool. So now that I've got the water all over, I can just start letting that move into all the little holes and spaces, and it will pull away a little bit from the heat embossed lines, which is kind of the look that I would like to go for here. So I'm just adding in color. This is super simple. If you're new to watercoloring, this is a great way to get started. Of course, you could add in different colors if you would like, but I'm going to keep this just straightforward with the one color. All right, so really that's all I have to do. You can see that there's some variegation in the color because there's some darker spots and some lighter spots, and that's perfect. That's exactly the look that I'm going for. So I'm going to repeat that process with the leaves. And just get each one of these wet and put in some Sweet Leaf. Now I don't even really have to push on the push button here because the amount of color that's coming out of the brush without me doing anything is really all that I'm looking for. So again, you can see that it doesn't like to go right up to the edge, which is great. That's the look that I would like. And then I do have some pooling of different colors, different shades, I should say, of the green. So super quick and easy. Now these pieces here are going to be a part of the circular shape in our sketch. So this circle can be interpreted any way that you see fit. It could be a sentiment, it could be something that's literally circular, it could be a flower because it is a circle shape. Or anything like that. It just indicates a element is there, and it's preferred that it's circular if you're following the sketch exactly, but it doesn't have to be a circle either. It could be any shape that you would like. All right, so super quick watercoloring. Those are done. I'm going to go ahead and dry them and die cut them, and we can move on to the rest of the project. All right, so I have those pieces all done up and ready to go. And as we explore this sketch, there is that line that goes right across the entire base of it. So that really indicates that there's going to be something going on in the background that is separated by that line. So this time I've chosen to use some designer paper from the Essential Black and White paper pack. And this is a really versatile set. I love the geometrics behind it. Of course, they coordinate really great with florals. It really brings that modern touch. And I love that it's got kind of a semi-gloss sheen to it. Woo. So I've cut a 2-inch strip of this diagonal pattern. And that way I can get 3 cards out of the sheet. And I could make 3 of the exact same card, which is really kind of nice. And it's a super easy way, obviously, to get that difference in the sketch of the top and the bottom with that line in between. So just trim off my piece here. There we go. And I would like to add just a little bit more to it. So I have some of the gold washi tape, and I'm going to just add this to the top. Now I like to do this because it gives that edge a nice, clean, finished look. It's as if you were a woodworker and you were adding just a little piece of molding around an edge to make it look super finished. And there we go. Just rub that on real well. And then I can't tuck this time because it's going right onto the card base, so I will just trim my little pieces off here. Before I start gluing and stamping on my sentiment, I do like to kind of block out exactly where things will go. So this obviously being the circle, I'm just looking for a good place for this to go on the right hand side here. And adding in the leaves will kind of help ground everything. But I want to make sure that I'll have enough room for my sentiment up here. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first. And I already have that set up in my MISTI. And it's just really important to make sure that you've got your card base down nice and secure, especially if you're going to be stamping right onto the card base. So go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And it says, hoping we can get together soon. And there we go. So now that I have that in place, I can again bring in my pieces here and make sure that I have them set up in such a way that they're going to really work well with the sentiment and the way that everything else is shaped. So this looks pretty good. I can go ahead and put on my leaf. Like so. And then the other two I am going to adhere together and then use some adhesive foam to pop the whole thing up. So that looks pretty good. And put some adhesives on the back. This is a really large space, so I want to make sure that I have enough on here. And then pop that right on. Now this card can be finished at this point, or I can go ahead and add in some of our new antique gold sequins. That's way too many. So I'll grab like one of the large ones and one of these little itty bitty ones, and another big one for the other side here. And I use some quick drying liquid glue to get those in place. There we go. So our first design using the sketch is complete. For my second take on the sketch, I went ahead and flipped the sketch on its side so I have a portrait to work with, and I decided I would do a strip of cardstock down the left side, and I'm using the Cherry Blossom Gradient cardstock. I picked a piece of the Razzleberry from that set, and I'm going to use the smallest flower from the Sweet Nothing stamp set and do some gold embossing with it. So this will be a nice little accent piece to go on the left side, much like a piece of designer paper. So instead this time I'm kind of creating my own by doing some heat embossing with the stamp. Now, of course, I could leave it just like this because I've got a really good impression of the image on here, but I really want to bring some gold into this one. So I will go ahead and put on some gold embossing powder. And heat that up. All right, so now I have this beautiful strip done, and I'm going to put it on the side of my card base. And just like the last project, I'm going to add some washi tape to it. And I think that, again, it just kind of adds a nice little finishing touch. And in this case, it's going to add some fun color to it as well. So this is the Sweet Pea Palette washi tape, and I just need to pick a color that I'd like to start on. and I'm butting it right up against it this time instead of overlapping. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any white showing in between. Here we go. So again, just break that off, and I can't flip it, so I'll go ahead and trim it. So for the circular element on this one, I thought at first that I would start with just the For You die cut, and it looked really nice, but it really needed something to help it pop out a little bit. So I added in a circle of vellum, and this really helps to bring in that circular element from the sketch. So I've got this all done up and ready to go already, and I have little bits of foam adhesive. You can see them. They're on the thicker parts of the letters, so you can't see it when I flip it over, but it's plenty to pop it up off of the page and really make it stand out. So grab all these little adhesive backings. Come on, I got 2 more. There we go. And then I can put this right in place. So now I've got a portrait version of the sketch. I hope today's sketch inspired you to pull out your craft supplies and make something beautiful. Of course, if you're sharing your inspired projects out on social media, don't forget to tag Altenew LLC and Pixel Mavens Retreat. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'll have another sketch for you soon, but until next time, happy crafting.